First of all, the government of Ethiopia has led a very successful economic model in the past many decades, which was predominantly led by public investment in infrastructure. It's given double-digit growth for many, many years. However, the government also realizes that there are limits to that type of investment, and it's not sustainable in the long periods of time. So what the government is trying to do now is to bring in private sector investment in specific sectors of the economy where it is relevant and makes sense, as well as provide a financially sustainable mechanism for continued investment in infrastructure development in Ethiopia. Not only is it financially sustainable to bring in the private sector for indirect investment, it reduces public debt burden on the government treasury, but also it can increase competition, it can increase provision of additional choices for the citizen, it can also increase quality of service delivery and provision of services in all parts of Ethiopia to the citizens. Overall, we see this as a very positive trend that the government is opening up to global marketplace by inviting public-private participation. In terms of the overall trends and the approach that the government has taken, we are very happy to see that it is following international best practices. It is based on benchmarking on global experience. The first step in this whole process was establishment of the PPP proclamation in January of 2018. But starting from that, the government has been very focused on establishing a predictable legal and regulatory environment for public-private participation. Now, this is extremely essential for new investors who are coming into a country. They want to see that the government is serious about taking investment climate reform actions. This is about regulations, this is about predictable infrastructure in terms of who are the governance institutions involved, establishment of a PPP Directorate General at the Ministry of Finance, establishment of a PPP board, transparent procedures for tendering these projects. So overall, it just gives a lot of comfort and predictability to foreign investors coming into the country. In addition to that, the government is also very keen on the priority sectors in the economy that they're targeting for private participation, such as energy, such as transport, to make those sectors financially viable. And these are in parallel actions that are ongoing at the moment by making the sectors self-sufficient so that when the investors are coming into those sectors, they have, in addition to the investment climate predictability, also the opportunity to make sure that their investments will be secured and the revenues can be protected. World Bank side, we've been very much supporting the government's public-private partnership initiative as well as the overall economic reform program. This is a multifaceted approach where we provide policy advice, technical assistance, targeted financing, perhaps even guarantees as well. On the first side, in terms of providing support to the overall economic reform program, in October of last year, World Bank approved a budget support operation, which was $1.2 billion to really support the economic reform agenda of the government targeted in certain areas of the economy. In addition to that, various different sector teams are working with their counterparts to provide, as I mentioned, technical assistance, policy advice, targeted investment, as well as guarantees. Within the energy sector, for example, we have a joint implementation program within the World Bank Group agencies, which brings together the IDA, which is the public sector part of the World Bank Group, together with IFC, which is the private sector investment part of the World Bank Group, and MIGA, which is the political risk insurance part of the World Bank Group, together working with the authorities to develop the market for independent power producers and public-private partnerships to come in to the country through initiatives like the Scaling Solar initiatives, which provides a predictable tendering process for solar IPP development in Ethiopia. These are quite complex initiatives. These take time, effort, and energy over the medium to long periods of time to have successful results. There are many, many examples around the world where things have worked very well, but also examples where things have not worked very well. So as part of our ongoing engagement with the government, we certainly would like to see that some of those experiences and the lessons learned are incorporated in the development of the PPP legal and regulatory infrastructure for promoting a public-private partnership in Ethiopia. At the same time, it would be very important to continue building the capacity within the authorities that are responsible for these programs, because this is very new for Ethiopia. At the end of the day, what we really want to see is maximizing finance for development. Public finance resources are very limited. The more private sector comes in, the more investments are happening in Ethiopia, the better it is for the citizens, as well as overall the efficiency of these infrastructure sectors improves.